Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah! How y'all doing out there on this Thursday, on the world's most hated and the left calls the most racist show in Connecticut? It's Reese on the radio right here live on WTIC News Talk 1080. Yeah, that's what they call it. He's a racist. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Still haven't received a check from the Southern Poverty Law Center, but I'm sure it's on its way. I got to get into that. We're going to get into that too a great deal today, and I want to take your phone calls about it. It's nice to be proven right. I had a great conversation with Morgan Cunningham today, and he said that he said people are finally coming around to him and telling him that he was right about certain things, be it the news cycle or things that he's watching and monitoring. And he's a lot younger than I am, and I know what he is feeling, because when you're young and you bestow wisdom on people, like you've got your finger on the pulse of something, and people kind of half-ass they're, taking your words as wisdom. So they kind of give you are you sure? Do you think so? Sure you do. It's kind of a dismissive, oh, you're young, what do you know? And so when you're proven right, it means a lot. So it's like, they should have listened to me. I tried to tell them. So it's really a boot. And I totally get it. I said, listen, it doesn't matter if what you believe is true a week after you said it or 5 years after you said it. Trust me when I tell you it's sweeter when it takes a long time. Being right ages like fine wine, my friend. It ages like scotch when you can turn around and go, yep, I told you. Just like my crazy prediction from back in the 90s when I said that Elian Gonzalez was going to be the president of Cuba. I'm still waiting. People are still holding me to that. They go, it's still not the president. I go, I know. Or that Blanket is going to be a serial killer. Yeah, nobody thinks it. If you're wondering who I mean by Blanket is, Michael Jackson's youngest son. Have you seen him? Have you seen the look on his face? Murderous. His name was Blanket. Is it right there? There's a Lifetime series right there, or a Lifetime movie. The Blanket Killer. He's not like the other two kids. Just isn't. There's something about that kid, and I know I'm right. You'll all be saying to me, oh, wow, he was really on point with that one. Yes, it'll be a weird mystery. It'll be like random, inexplicable violence. We found the person lying on a floor in a pool of blood with Billie Jean playing in the background on a 45. I'm just saying. You think I'm kidding? Anyway, what did Lori say? Glenn Beck had been talking about them for years ago. Yeah, as John Stossel. A lot of people talking about them just after Charlottesville. A lot of people talking about it. We'll show that example soon enough. Yeah, like Rob Reiner's kid. Yeah, people were predicting that really, really early, but never said a word. I'm just getting out ahead of it, trying to tell you. Anyway, the Southern Poverty Law Center. Do you want to know why this is a big story? Because it doesn't have to be. This story can be swept under the rug and could be immediately ignored. I mean, like disbanded, like completely gone. That's it. It could be something that's in the news one day, gone the next. But it's still here. And it's all anyone could talk about. This investigation is big. And the reason why it is because what it threatens. It's not just money. It's prestige in racism. That's what the Southern Poverty Law Center represents. They are billed as the preeminent fighter of racism and hatred across the country. They were involved with our government under the Biden administration. They were the lead dogs. They told you where to go and where to find racism. And they were out there promoting what the administration was promoting all day. Our biggest threat to democracy, our biggest threat to the homeland was not Al-Qaeda, was not violent Muslim extremism. No, it was white supremacy. That's what they said. There were investigations, exhaustive investigations into white supremacy in every facet of our lives, even inside our government and armed forces. And they were there to root it out. That the rise of Trump in 2016 was the impetus of all of that we had to endure from 2020 until 2025. The inauguration, that is. That's what all of that was about. And the Southern Poverty Law Center was at the center of that. And the left knows it. And they must protect it. But a lot of details came out of this yesterday that hurt their chances to protect the Southern Poverty Law Center. And that is, the Trump administration did not start this. And neither did the Biden administration. The banks did. The same banking industry that was being used to debank people like Donald Trump and his organizations or his allies. That banking system. The banking system that is known to be bigoted, racist, and, an oligarchy. That banking system. They were the ones who whistle blew on the preeminent race hate organization, or at least hunters of race hate in the country. They have the biggest endowment known to man as a civil rights organization. Yes, folks, far more than the NAACP. The oldest civil rights organization. So the Southern Poverty Law Center is the creme de la creme. That's a fact. And the left knows it. So they could not they could not ignore the story. They must kill it, but they can't. The NAACP is not out there pointing out racism. They respond to it. That's what they do. Have you ever known the NAACP to be involved inside the government talking about, hey, look, there's a hate group over here. Hey, look, there's a hate group over there. Oh, my goodness. Where are all these hate groups popping up from? No, that's the Southern Poverty Law Center. That's their job. They are there to grab the bike what's that called? The bike air pump. And blow air into the theory that there's racism everywhere. Let's blow some more air in this. That's their job. And they were good at their job. And they had plenty of money to fund said so-called racism. That's what they had to do. There was so little of it, they had to buy some. Here's an interesting note. And I'm going to let John Stossel tell the story because it's his. This is from John Stossel when he used to be with Reason. You remember that organization? Are they still around? Before he just started doing stuff on his own. Back in 2017, late 2017, he aired this in January of 2018. But he did a report in late 2017 after Charlottesville talking about the Southern Poverty Law Center. Now, I have to make a few notes because of where we are today versus 2017. You'll hear a part of this report where they say that their endowment is somewhere north of $300 million. I'll stop the video to tell you where the real numbers are because you've been hearing a number that is false. I'll correct that. But here's John Stossel.
There are dangerous hate groups in America who will warn us about them. The media haven't answered.
The Southern Poverty Law Center. The Southern Poverty Law Center.
The Southern Poverty Law Center, based in that building in Alabama, calls itself the premier group monitoring hate groups. Looking at their map of such groups, you'd think America was consumed by hate. I once believed in the center's mission. Well-meaning people still do. Apple just gave them $1 million. But what donors don't know is that today the center smears people who don't deserve to be smeared.
The presence of radical Islam.
This woman grew up in Somalia, suffered female genital mutilation, so now she speaks out against radical Islam. For that, the center put her on its list.
Multiculturalism failed these communities.
This man was once an Islamic extremist, but then he decided radical Islam was wrong, and now he criticizes the radicals. The center labels him an anti-Muslim extremist, too.
I do think that we have a problem with hate in this country.
We put about 10 of these major hate groups out of business.
The center's leaders, Richard Cohen and Morris Dees, would not talk to me. So commentator Nomiki Kant stepped up to defend them.
They have a long history of fighting against extremists like the KKK.
Years ago, Harper's Magazine reported that the center's the wealthiest civil rights group in America, one that spent most of its time and money on a fundraising campaign. Now, Morris Dees did once promise to stop fundraising once his endowment hit $55 million. But when he reached $55 million, he changed that to $100 million, saying that would allow them to cease costly fundraising. But when they reached $100 million, they didn't stop. Today,
they have an endowment that now is over $320 million. Much.
Let's strike that. In 2017, they had an endowment of $320 million. Today, although it's been reported, it was $700 million. It is not. It is north of $800 million. And this gentleman is about to tell you where that money sits.
Much of which is in offshore accounts, Caymans and places like that.
How do you know?
Oh, we look at their 990s.
And it says Cayman Islands?
Yeah.
They pay some of their people more than $400,000 a year.
Well, it's 2017. It costs a lot of money to exist in this world.
The Southern Poverty Law Center now lists people like Ben Carson, Laura Ingraham, and Jeannie Pirro as extremists. But it doesn't list Antifa, the hate group that beats up people on the right. The center's become a hate group itself. It's now a left-wing, money-grabbing slander machine.
The crazy part about it is that the co-founder of the Southern Poverty Law Center was ousted. For what? For racism and sexual harassment. Alabama boy. That's why he was removed. Over $800 million money in the Cayman Islands. Interesting enough. And now has a staff of a hell of a lot of African Americans who were now learning were taking money that was donated to them and funneling it to the Klan, cozying right up to them. I saw pictures on X yesterday with these black folks sitting around a table, the senior staff at Southern Poverty Law Center, smiling it up, congratulating themselves about their great work. Well, there they were, siding with the enemy that hates them. Hey, don't come up on me, Negro. What you want? We'll send a check. What? A check for what? You want me to spread hate? How much is that? Yes! Yes. You'll notice some people who aren't speaking up, and they should be. They should be speaking up right now. But have you heard from them? When we come back, I want to talk about those groups and those individuals, because this is far more than ugly, and it is far worse than a scandal. A cultural shift is about to change, ladies and gentlemen, and the left won't be able to recover from it. I guarantee it. Stick around. We'll be back. It's Reese on the radio.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
There we go. Hey, we're back. It's Reese on the radio, WTIC. News Talk 1080. The most important question to me about all of this stems from this. What if you had found out that, let's take a rando conservative, random, out of nowhere. Let's say you found out that Reese on the radio was quietly sending monthly donations to Nick Fuentes. What would happen? What would be said? Let's say I was sending Nick Fuentes $10 a month. Let's say it was $5 a month. You found out that I was sending that to him, and I had been sending it for 8 months, 10 months even. I'm sending him that money. And it was a financial disclosure, and that's what they found out. He sent money to Nick Fuentes? Reese on the radio? I knew he was an Uncle Tom and a conservative, but this is beyond the pale. He's funding a white supremacist. Wouldn't they? They would lose their minds. How could they not? I would help them. Like, I would literally go on X and bash myself if I had been busted. Yeah, you know, I'm a horrible person. You bum. Yes. Who wouldn't? I would totally accept that. So, where's everybody that's supposed to be stepping up now? I don't even care about the reasoning. I know that you can, I know that everyone here, I don't care who you are, you can rationalize what they were doing. Well, look, they needed to bring attention to it. So they took some of their money. It wasn't a lot. It was just $3 million plus. And they used it because it wasn't being paid attention to enough, Reese. And people think that racism isn't real. And what they were doing was trying to get awareness. And they put their own money into it. Well, other people's money, but what the hell? The same deal. Sure. You know what? I can reason with that. But I got to ask this question. Did the money turn the racist into people that would be referred to or considered allies? Like, did those individuals, after receiving checks from one of the most preeminent civil rights groups, did they become an ally to that organization? Because the folks over at the SPLC are saying that these people were paid informants, like they are the FBI. Remember, they were working for the federal government. Maybe they felt deputized in some way, because I can't believe that they're using this as an excuse. But they are saying that they were, turning people over at these nationalist groups, these Klan members. They were turning them over. And what they mean by that was, making them an ally through money. Were they? I'd like to see evidence of that. Because if they were, why would they keep said racist, bigot, and homophobe on their hate list? They didn't miraculously disappear. It's not like what the cops do when they raid a place and they've got a CI, confidential informant, inside the raid, and then they put him in handcuffs anyway and haul him out like everybody else. They may even rough him up a little bit to make sure that nobody knows that he is in particular like the one who ratted them out. And then secretly let him go free somehow or get him out of Dodge. Did they do any of that? No. No, not at all. But there they were, secretly paying these folks. And they were giving this money, the money that they were out there getting from folks like George Clooney and Tim Cook of Apple. All these people who were doing ads for them. Commercials. Talking about fight hate one at a time with your dollars. Support the Southern Poverty Law Center. $800 million of an endowment. All of that money going to any hate group. And you think it's a one-off? People died. Right? People died. A young woman was driven over with a car as a result of the Southern Poverty Law Center and money that went to the organizer of the Charlottesville Unite the Right riot. They are culpable, aren't they? Where are the civil rightsers? Because I don't know if they know this. I don't even know if this is registered with them. So let me tell the audience, those of you on the left, those of you who believe that everything is racist, everything is racial, and it's systemic in kind. Let me tell you something. Not anymore. No one is going to listen to you. As far as I'm concerned, there is no racism. It doesn't exist. It's nonsense. Don't try to convince me. Don't come on my message board. Don't whine to me. It's bull. And so are you. It's manufactured hate, bought and paid for. All of it. Just like your No Kings rallies. All of it is phony. It's not even AstroTurf. It's barely confetti. It's a mirage. You're a Copperfield act. You don't exist. None of it does. And the reason why is because the so-called legitimate rabble-rousers who are fighting for justice for the most vulnerable races and people across the country, they haven't stepped up to say anything. They haven't even stepped up to condemn it. And remember what you say on the left, as we like to say on the show, when you make the table, you have to eat from it. Silence is violence. Your silence is consent. And you are consenting to this. Just like those fools over at MSBET. They have to support anything and everything black. That's the state that we're in now. All of you are phony. All of you you're a fraud. Racism doesn't exist. And every time it comes up, I'm going to say, who paid you? Soon as they come in and they say, he was racist towards me. Who's paying you? Check them for a wire. Come on, get up against the wall. As far as I'm concerned, you're all a bunch of Jussie Smolletts. That's what I'm going to call you every time you scream racism. What's Jussie talking about? Just like when I used to see the kids walking around with the hoodie, I was like, what's up, Trayvon? Yes, that's right, I said it. No, applaud me. That's how you make the kids take off the hoodie. As soon as the kid walk in with a hoodie inside the house and say, hey, what's up, Trayvon? You got a problem? Why are you calling me that? Take your hoodie off your head. These people are a whole bunch of Jussie Smolletts, and that's exactly what I'm going to call them. Every time they scream racism, I don't care where you are, where you've been. I don't care how legitimate the story is. It means nothing. Because if you're not calling this out, you mean nothing to me. You have no credibility. You never have, and you never will. You wouldn't accept this from anybody. If you found out that a white man who was running for office had funneled money to the KKK to any degree, you found out that he gave a Klans member who was homeless $1 and put it in his cup for coffee, you'd be raking him over the coals. Do you guys remember N-word rock? Do you remember that? I do. In the 90s, remember the problem you guys had with that? A lot of you folks don't remember that. Go look that up. Someone shows up at a fundraiser. One person sitting in the room might be a member of the Klan or some white nationalist group. The whole thing was sponsored by them. And these folks spent millions and just handed it. I don't even know if half of these people actually accomplished the things that they were spending the money for. The only thing we know is Charlottesville. I'd love to know what the other people were supposed to do with the thousands of dollars that they got. One guy got money to burn a cross. Damn! We're talking tens of thousands of dollars to burn a cross. I didn't know lumber cost that much. So all the civil rightsers, the NAACP, the Urban League, Al Sharpton, Benjamin Crump, whomever. I mean, thank goodness Jesse done passed and gone and doesn't have to see this. If Jesse were alive today to find out that that's what the Southern Poverty Law Center was doing with its money, what would he say to them? Nah, he would have agreed. He's a grifter. You're all a bunch of grifters. Your credibility is garbage now. Listen, if I may, let me do the one thing that these black rabble-rouser bigots and racists, that's who they are. Let me say the thing that will really tee them up right now. As Rush used to call it, media tweak of the day. Let me say the thing that will really resonate and anger them. White people, you're off the hook. You're off the hook, white folks. Go on about your day. You are free to move about. You are free to move about the country. Keep it moving. Keep it pushing. You're fine, folks. You have been absolutely exonerated. The Southern Poverty Law Center and all their fraud, you are now free. Go on. Live in your suburbs. Buy your SUVs. Okay? You understand me? Work hard. Become millionaires. Spend your money. The jig is up. They look stupid. It's all over. I'm giving you permission. Forget all this nonsense. You don't have to give them any money whatsoever. Now we can watch the whole thing burn to the ground. All of them. Grifters. Over. You don't have to give them anything. And the white guilt thing, that's over too. No more guilt. Move on. We'll take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views. It's Reese.
It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
That happened quickly. All right, we're back. On to program today, we got Mike Ortiz coming in at 4 o'clock. Next week, we've got a full slate. And I know a lot of people have been hitting me up to come on the program. And I really do appreciate you. I do. As I said yesterday, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but apparently somebody got word that a lot of people listened to this program. Thank you for that. So the requests to come on the show have been bountiful, to say the least. Let me go over a couple of things here for next week. Let me see. We got Abby Wadsworth Barretto, who'll be here for the Love of Veterans, honoring service with the Gary Sinise Foundation. She'll be here at 4 o'clock next week on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we've got David Ferraro of the DOT, this Department of Transportation. I want to say Monday, maybe Tuesday, I think it was. I met him. He was the one that gave me the hat yesterday. He was with the Department of Transportation. I met him at this is National Work Zone Awareness Week. And we're going to talk to him next week. And someone else from the Department of Transportation, I forget his name, and I'll grab that shortly. He'll be on the show, as well as David, talking about the need for speed cameras in and around Connecticut, because what's happening is there are people who are not respecting work zones on the highway. And I see a lot of you out there. I'm very cautious around there. Last night was no different. And I was coming from Bristol, and for those of you who were on 84, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But they were doing road work right on the far left lane as you're merging where that split happens. And I was right there, and I didn't realize the guy was right at the cone until I saw the sparks fly from the whatever the equipment was he was using. And I saw him, like I thought I saw him, but I didn't see him. And the sparks flew, and I went, holy crap. Now, I was in my lane or anything, but I had realized as I approached him, and the first thing I said to myself, am I going slow enough? And I double-checked, and I certainly was. But that is something you've got to be cautious of. There are a lot of people, including Dave here, who's going to be on the program on Wednesday, who have come close to losing their lives. And, of course, there are countless people across the country who have lost their lives due to watching your phone, impaired driving. You know the story of Andrew D. Domenico in 2024, a woman under the influence at 9:30 in the morning struck and killed him. The outrage, of course, was the penalty that she received. She only received 5 years in a plea deal and 5 years probation. I think Sherry is Andrew's mother's name. She spoke at the event this week, and she expressed her concern and dismay about this sentencing. I even asked the folks there that should there be a mandatory sentencing for those who are injured or killed in these types of incidents. Like, there should be no negotiation whatsoever if you strike one of these workers. And, if people know that there is a mandatory minimum, like you are getting 10 years in prison, should you affect the life of those people who are risking their lives on the road, people will think about it. And that penalty, that mandatory penalty, that will change everything. And I asked them about it. And they were very open, even saying it in front of the governor who was present, that they are fighting for that every day. They can't control the legislature and what they do, because the legislature is going to have to make those rules. And I would even appeal to them, get your head out of your behind, because you had to see this memorial. And the memorial was for all the people that had lost their lives across the country. But it was massive. I thought that was I thought it was just Connecticut alone. I saw that. I was like, how the hell do you not have a mandatory minimum? But that was the nationwide list. But as you drove in to the site where this press conference was in Farmington, they put in a bunch of yard signs of all the people who had perished, including Andrew. And I hope to get his mother on the air and possibly talk to her. So, David, if you're listening, please talk to her and see if she might come on, because we want to talk about a whole bunch of things on that subject next week. All right? So, with that, those are some of the people who are going to be here next week. And, of course, Mike Ortiz is going to be on today, and we'll talk to him. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back with some great gubernatorial news when we return. And John Silva is in the WTIC newsroom. We'll be back. It's Reese on the Radio.
Reese on the Radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
My timing is impeccable. I had to run out to the printer to go grab something. Hey, Bruce, thank you so much for reminding me. He should have been on the schedule in the last break when I was discussing who was coming on the program. I didn't get to that, but I got into that deep discussion about the Department of Transportation. Thank you for reminding me. On Ladies' Night, or also known as Roseanne Day, the mentalist Brian Imbus is going to be here as well. We made that schedule. He just got in touch with me, I think, yesterday. And I scheduled him. So he'll be here Friday. Roseanne is crazy about him. We saw him at the Mark Twain house, and he was all right. He was incredible. I'm saying he's all right because I'm a skeptic. I get what he does. I understand it, and he's really good at it. I wish I was that good. Like, he's good with body language. I'm good with wording, and I guess he's kind of good with that too. He has this ability to tell how you communicate in an instant. And some of those pantomimes. You remember that scene from True Romance? Roland, please tell me you saw that movie. You had to have seen that movie, True Romance. It's not a romantic comedy. Go watch the trailer for True Romance and then get back to me. Christian Slater, Dennis Hopper, Christopher Walken, James Gandolfini, Brad Pitt, Michael Rappaport, Chris Penn. There's countless names. It's like an all-star cast. Brian Pinchot, Val Kilmer as Elvis. This is great. This movie was directed, I'm almost certain it was written by Quentin Tarantino. Go watch the trailer to this. But there's a great scene in the film.
Man, I was 10 years old. I wasn't watching that.
It doesn't matter. You can watch it today. You were 10 years old when that came out? Goodness, I was in my 20s. Goodness, I didn't realize how young you are. There's a great scene in this movie between Christopher Walken and Dennis Hopper, where Christopher Walken is this, mob lawyer or kind of enforcer. He's trying to get Dennis Hopper to tell him where his kid, played by Christopher Walken, is. And, he's like, look, I don't know where the kid is. He came here. He asked for some money and, he's skedaddled. And Christopher Walken does this monologue about pantomimes. He said people have pantomimes, the way they tell. In essence, so you can tell how they're lying. And it's a brilliant scene. That scene alone, where Christopher Walken is having that back and forth with Dennis Hopper, and then Dennis Hopper comes back and talks about the history of Sicilians. It is brilliant and beautifully done. It is cinema gold. That scene alone deserves an Oscar. Both of those men deserve an Oscar for that scene. That's how beautiful that scene was. Everything about it. Cinematography, the music, everything. I always harken back to it. But I can't play it. It's got a hell of a lot of language. But those of you who've seen it, you know how great that scene is. Anyway, let me get this Simsbury Joe. What's up, big guy?
Hi there. Thank you. I had two things I want to talk about. One quick, and then the second one is your Substack.
Okay.
The first one, as it relates to this whole Charlottesville thing, is I kind of ran a little test on Facebook, and I'm not surprised by the results. The number of Democrats and the way that they responded to the fact that Joe Biden said that the only reason he was running for president because of what he saw in Charlottesville.
Right.
And the fact that they are not concerned about that, there's no doubt whatsoever this guy knew, because a lot of other people knew, including Alex Jones, who I'm not a fan of, that something wasn't right about Charlottesville at all. And these Democrats don't have the ability to see what they're rejecting, and I believe it's in the next 2 weeks, if the federal government's not lying to us, that we should start to see indictments related to election steal in 2020.
That is correct.
And I just believe the combination of those two, we're really going to learn whether or not the United States of America will survive or not. And yes, that does sound like a very powerful statement, and it's meant to be, but if you have proof, and let me underline that word if for people who are non-believers. If you have proof that 2020 was stolen and people don't want to change their ways or hold people accountable for doing that, these are not people that we can ever deal with. They're just, it's impossible. And I'm going to tie that to the Substack because, first of all, I hope people know what a Substack is.
Yeah.
But I highly recommend that you read Reese's Substack. It's excellent. Every single one that you do is excellent.
Thank you, sir.
And in today's Substack that I saw, talking about the U-Haul moving vans are going to be moving people out of the state of Connecticut, I truly believe that if there's not a change in November, that will happen in numbers that are far greater than what people want to admit. And I also believe that as people move out, that people from New York City will move in because of Mendami, because people are moving out of New York City already and running over to Monmouth County, New Jersey, and there's no more space over there.
Yeah.
So the thing is that we are in a situation right now with Charlottesville within the next 2 weeks, if the stuff comes out about the election, and in November, a combination of three things where if we don't turn the ship in the state of Connecticut, and that's directed right at Democrats, then I do not believe that we could ever turn the ship. We can turn the ship in the future, so let me rephrase that, but I don't believe that turning the ship in the future is going to matter a hill of beans. I think it's going to be too late, and if the Democrats can't figure out that they have been the useful idiots with what's going on in this state, then God help them, God help all of us, because there's only so much we can do. You can't reason with a rock.
Yeah. You're 100% right. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate you mentioning Substack because that's what this segment was going to bring up. Because I only do my Substacks on Sunday morning, and I was compelled to do one today because of this. I don't know. I was overwhelmed today by this. I'm doing my research and I'm hearing all these stories, and it was one particular story that I'll get into. But Joe, let me let you go because you literally set me up beautifully, and I thank you for that.
That's because I'm a mind reader, just like your guest on Roseanne's Day.
You got it. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
You got it. So what he's talking about in this Substack, and again, why I wrote it. There's an article that was written today, and let me grab it because I've got all this other stuff sitting in front of me. Here it is. Lamont had two things happen yesterday that I thought were absolutely insane. And one was an article that suggested that all things are rosy in Lamont's camp. All things are rosy with what he's doing. I'm trying to find out where I put it, though. Yes, it was West Fair Communications. Here it is. West Fair Communications ran a piece titled, "For Governor Lamont, It's Good News All Around." And this is nothing more than cheerleading for Lamont. What are they saying it's good news all around about? Try this on for size. This is what West Fair is calling good news. The big rate relief for Eversource and United Illuminating customers who are going to get $30 to $34 off a month from their average residential bills. The $200 was something everybody said was laughable, but West Fair Communications suggests this $30 to $34, brilliant. Brilliant. What's the other thing? He got over 50 endorsements from municipal leaders across Connecticut, showing broad support for real progress on what? Affordability. A problem he has not solved yet. At all. By no measure. So the Substack I wrote today was that the headline was, Connecticut can come back, or we'll all have to leave. But the crux of this is about the bills that are being passed in the legislature as we speak. Day in and day out. What we are watching with this supermajority has nothing to do with the prosperity of the people who live in the state. It is all a bunch of pipe dreams for leftists. Even down to helium balloons. This has nothing to do with making Connecticut prosperous or affordable. It's overreach. And they know that they can do it because every bit of it, you notice, none of the conversations are talking about how it is making lives affordable. Not at all. It's talking about guns. It's talking about vaccines. It's talking about homeschooling. None of these things have to have fiscal responsibility written anywhere on them. Voting rights. These things have nothing to do with bread and butter issues. And they could be in the legislature doing that. But all we got is overreach conversations. And what's happening is that people on the left who are voting for this, the Democrats, as Joe was talking about, they are going to rue the day. Because remember what I've always said on this program, not one legislator in there, especially on the Democrat side, unless you can find them for me, is voting on their behalf. And I'm talking about Democrat legislator and the Democrat voter. You cannot find me a line where the two of them meet. You're going to sit up here and tell me that you voted for that legislator to do what they're doing? Did you actually ask the Senate to write a bill about helium balloons? Really? Is that what you asked for? Did you really ask the legislature to write a bill that would give power on vaccines to one single solitary person where you or your legislator can't fight for your rights? Is that what you voted for? You can't tell me you did. There's no way in hell you did. And that is your vote affecting you. You know, they used to say that about Republicans. I remember back in the crack epidemic, they used to say nobody cared about crack when it was in the inner city, but it was when it hit the suburbs, then all the white people cared. Well, guess what? Back at you, Democrats. Back at you. Because everything that they're doing, because again, they don't care about you. They care about their pipe dreams. You think you're voting against Republicans. You think you're voting against Trump. No, sweetheart, you're voting against you. Because they ain't voting for you. This legislation isn't about you. None of this stuff is about you. This is the stuff that's coming for you. And while affordability is ignored, or you get this piecemeal garbage with $200, or even better, what Westfield is calling great, $34, you're going to have enough and you're going to leave because you'll have no choice because you can't vote for the other guy. Every Democrat in Connecticut has become the black voter. Yeah, that's right. All of you. You've all become black liberals. You keep treating Election Day like you have only two choices instead of three. You've decided to vote for the Democrat or not to vote at all. How do we know? Voter turnout is abysmal. And those of you who do only vote for the Democrat. And you will vote for your own demise because you are sticking it to the Republicans. You're sticking it to MAGA. And while your freedoms are being affected too. Now, this always goes backwards. Listen to what I'm trying to tell you. When you say Republicans are voting for dirty air and dirty water, you're forgetting we have to drink that too. We have to breathe that too. We're not stupid. We would never vote for dirty air and dirty water because we would have to deal with those things as well. We're not immune to those things as Republicans. And neither are you immune to what legislators are doing in Hartford. You're not. Those things that they vote for are coming for you. They're never voting on your behalf. They're never legislating on your behalf, and you know it. But what are you going to do when you can afford to, or when you've decided that you've had enough? You'll leave, and you'll go to greener pastures. Of course you will. You're going to end up in some red state, in a very blue part of town. And you'll get there, and you'll realize this place is surrounded by MAGA folks. And you will do the same thing to that town you did to this one. Yeah, you know you will. So we'd like to ask you, consider the third option. For your own sake, no one's going to know. No one's going to know. The Secretary of State is doing everything that she can to protect your identity. Remember? They don't want to give up the voter rolls to the federal government. They're afraid that they might get a hold of your Social Security number that you get from the government, whatever. You don't have to let anybody know what you voted for, but you can send a message. You can send a message that you wish to save the state. And don't worry, you can still hate Republicans. I mean, it really is a personal venture, isn't it? You can hate MAGA, you can hate MAGA folks, you can hate Donald Trump. But save your state. Remember, no one's coming for you. The cavalry will not arrive. Not if you don't speak up. And with all due respect, from 2026 to the end of 2028, the cavalry is Trump. And do you want him coming into town? Probably not. So save yourself. Like, isn't that the wise option? Isn't that what it's all about? Like pulling up your pants, grabbing your boots, and getting to work. I know you love this state. Trust me, I do. I don't know if you love this state more than you hate Republicans or hate conservatives. I don't know. I have no clue. But you could damn well bet that these folks are drunk with power. Come on. There was a Senate bill drafted for helium balloons. I've never seen anything more ridiculous than when Maryland passed a law to tax rainwater. And it went through. People were actually taxed for rainwater. Go look it up if you think I'm insane. It's the reason why they lost the next election. Rainwater. We're doing Senate bills. I mean, I can understand the stupid bills. Somebody writes it in the House, but a Senate bill written on helium balloons? And you want to hear the irony of it all? Here's where it's crazy. The reason why they wanted to write a bill on helium balloons is because they were concerned about wildlife. But these are the same bozos who voted to put DQuat in the water. That's drunk with power. It's like moms against drunk drivers partying at the bar. That's who these people are. Figure it out, folks. Just save the state. Just save the state. It's not like, give it a chance, see whether or not we can bring it back from the brink. Bring it back from the brink, see how well it works out. If you like it, you try it again. If you don't, you can go back to whatever nonsense you were doing before and just destroy the state. Most of you, with all due respect, you're getting a little older in age. You don't have to really worry about it. But let's not leave this garbage to our kids, huh? Can we do that? I'm just saying. If you want to read the Substack, go to my page. It's reeseontheradio.com. Also, there's a excerpt from my upcoming memoir, Those Who Trespass Against Us. I hope you'll read it. Let's take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views. It's Reese on the Radio.
Spider-Man. Hey, he's your friendly neighborhood Reese on the Radio. Right now on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we are back. Do you keep my microphone off so I don't step on the promo? Is that why you do it? I always feel like you do that just so I don't step on the promo. I promise you I won't. No, I got you. Anyway, Mike Ortiz is in the house. We'll talk to him in a little bit. So I always stick to the schedule. Just, if somebody shows up early, normally I would throw them on early, but I hate that schedule because it throws everything else off. And I'm kind of a stickler about my schedule. We were talking about Ned Lamont in the last break. And what is really relevant to this whole story in the Substack that I put out, like I said, go to reeseontheradio.com if you want to read it. It's also on my X profile as well at Reese on the Radio. Is that there are so many things that the governor is paying very little attention to. And he put out a post yesterday on Facebook, which shows not just that the governor's out of touch, whoever's handling him is out of touch. He put a post up that had this title, Why Move to Connecticut? That's the ad. Why move to Connecticut? Now, as I always say, I scrutinize everything. And I'm incredibly critical of phrasing and phraseology. Governor or the governor's team. I don't think the governor has any responsibility. He's doing something stupid in the video where they're making him point in different directions, and then they put this little caption on there where he's sort of it's so cringy, but whatever, he's doing it. And what he's doing, he's pointing to things. The headline, Why Move to Connecticut? And the things he's pointing to is Connecticut's economy is the fastest growing. Connecticut is one of the healthiest states. Connecticut named the fourth most educated state in the U.S. And Connecticut ranks third in analysis and best states in women's health. That's what he's pointing to. Why move to Connecticut? These are the 4 reasons. Now, why was I critical of this ad? Governor, this ad should be on the tourism page, not the governor's reelection page. Why? Let's use simple logic here. The headline is, Why Move to Connecticut? Which is being promoted to people who already live here. Do you get that? This is a tourism ad on a page that only reaches the people who may have already made the unfortunate decision, myself included, to move here. Who is the dum-dum who set this up? Are you listening to me? Is anyone there listening to me? I know, I don't care how mad you are about this. I don't care. You are not serious people. You can't be serious people. Anyway. Oh, also, Governor, you have a Connecticut license plate behind you in this video that reads back to back. it's supposed to be an homage to the fact that you were reelected, take that down. You've got nothing to brag about. Even with these 4 things you appear to be bragging about in this ad, placed in the wrong way. Here are the things that most states laud when they say, move to our state. You have none of these things. Number 1, cost of living and housing affordability. It is the number 1 thing that makes people move to a state. Can you say that? Womp womp. No, you cannot. Taxes. Sometimes rivals point number 1. How you doing there, big guy? Womp womp. How about job market or economic opportunity? Oh, come on. Who am I kidding? You're not on this list. Oh, wait a minute. 4th overall, education. Okay, you made it. You made it. You got one. You got one. Let's see how else you do. How well you do. Healthcare access and overall health rankings. Oh, wow, you got that one. Okay, there's another. You're at 4 and 5. First 3, nada. Hold on. There are 6. There are 6. There are 6 here. Let's see if you can get at least 3. Out of 6, let's see if you can get 3. So far, you got 2. 2 out of 5. Let's see. The 6th is, climate, lifestyle, and other quality of life factors. It says here, Connecticut ranks neutral to negative versus the states that do well. Why? Because of cold winters, the 4 seasons, coastal access, in parts generally low violent crime in suburbs, dense Fairfield and Hartford counties. Yeah. So you don't get but half a point for climate. So you are in the lower tier of 6 things that people move to a state for. And the 3 most important, you don't rank anywhere. So, please, if you could move your silly little video I saw last night to the tourism page, we'd appreciate it. Because no one living in the state is happy about any of the things you're so-called celebrating or taking, credit for. No one thinks that they should give you a round of applause. I'm being generous at best. Really generous. I couldn't believe it, but there it was. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, there is something else here. I forgot. According to your 10-second video, it turns out you've got a couple of problems here. You said that in your first claim that Connecticut's economy is among the fastest growing in the U.S., technically true, but not all out and out true. It's only technically true. Connecticut posted a 2.4% real GDP growth and ranked 12th among the 50 states. That's solid, especially after a rough patch. But among the fastest is generous. South Carolina and Florida both hit 3.1%, and New York even hit 2.9%. Connecticut was strong in the middle quarters, but slowed sharply later in the year. More importantly, is the one-year rebound. Long-term economic performance rankings still put Connecticut near the bottom of the list. So it's only a half-ass bravado move. Claim number 2, Connecticut is one of the healthiest states in the U.S. You are 100% accurate on its face. The United Health Foundation's 2025 America's Health Rankings put Connecticut fourth healthiest in the nation, behind only New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and Vermont. That's legitimately strong. Good access to care, lower rates, certain chronic diseases. Yeah, they actually get taken care of here. Solid public health metrics. No major debunk here. Good to go. So healthy, you're all right. How about claim number 3? Connecticut is the fourth most educated state. Also true. Even though your proficiency is low, it's kind of low everywhere. So it's kind of like, it's like running a one-legged race with everybody else. Claim number 4, Connecticut ranks 3rd in analysis of best states for women's health. Close enough, but no cigar. Depending on the exact study and timing, a 2026 Smile Hub analysis actually put Connecticut at number 2 behind Massachusetts. But earlier in 2025 data had it near number 3 in some women's health metrics and focused on access outcomes for safety. Either way, it's top tier. Nationally, especially on reproductive care access, which in essence, you're number 1 in abortions, buddy. Hey, what the hell? Give yourself a round of applause. That was what you ran on in 2022, right? Should tell everybody, bring your business here. Bring it here. We'll abort your babies. Come on down to Connecticut. Got a baby you want to kill? We'd be happy to. Oakley dokley. That was you, remember? I've got you on tape. I hate the nitpick, but you're kind of trash. That's it. You're just kind of trash. You just know you are. You are. Yes, and I'm going to work my behind off to unseat you. That's all I'm trying to say, the bottom line. Because if you don't, then the rest of us have to leave the state. And we just can't do this anymore. As I say in, my ads I was running a couple of months ago, Connecticut can't afford you anymore. They can't. And everybody knows it, and so do you. And I hear you're getting heckled now. Expect more of that. And expect it more from your side. Josh Elliott may not be making a lot of ground, but he's moving. I mean, he is moving. Even if it's a little bit, he's showing some cracks in the foundation. Not that, trust me, I like Justin. I think he's a great guy. But to be governor, oh, hell no. Hell no. You kidding me? That guy will make an illegal Secretary of State in this place. Nobody wants that. I kid, Justin. I kid. But you're capable. Let's take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Of course, I threw my headphones in a weird position. I'm here talking to Mike Ortiz. We'll have him on in a second. Let me do this real quick and get to the phones before we take a break and get to the BPS Traffic Center. Let's go to James in Newington. Hello, sir.
Hi there, Reese. I wanted to kind of talk about, we're starting to hear about how our state is having the various school districts run out of money because all that TARP money was spent.
Yeah.
And they're all looking for $18 million and $16 million and $20 million. And I respect all that. I want to bring up the point about this, how this relates to fraud.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing across the country the massive fraud that independent journalists like Nick Shirley went out and investigated.
Yeah.
He went to California and he found that one area that had 1,000 hospices within a mile.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Dr. Oz, David Oz, who has a position in the administration, has now closed 450 of those. And as he said, not one complained or appealed that they were a real company.
That's right. In fact, I heard that during the testimony of Robert F. Kennedy. He said that it was over 500 that they closed down, and there was no complaint from the legislature or even the companies that were shut down. Not even at the level that the Leering centers were losing their mind.
Absolutely. So I always want to speak accurately. When I heard Mehmet Oz in his interview, he had specifically said, referenced the 450 number just about 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah.
It probably is over 500.
Yeah.
But then I looked and we hear that in California, they put a law to make it illegal for independent journalists to post information online.
Yep.
about whether they have uncovered fraud, which seems a lot like the draconian anti-freedom of speech of the German Nazi Party early on when they passed laws out of the Reichstag. So the second part we have is in Minnesota, where Nick Shirley went, and along with the other investigative reporters, found that the Somalians had stolen, X number of $1 billion. We have no idea. Now Minnesota did a party line vote, Democrat, to stop all investigations into fraud in the child care industry. So what I'm using is, why can't Connecticut, this isn't about party, it isn't about Democrat or Republican, it's about every citizen in towns that want to have money for the school districts to be able to pay for the kids' quality of education. Why can't we support an audit of the home health care, child care, and other industries in cities like Bridgeport, where we've already know there's a culture of corruption, in Hartford, where we had the head of the Community Action Network, the gentleman who's the Democrat who's in power, who they found was getting a couple $100,000 a year for his own private nonprofit, but wasn't kicked out of the legislature. Why can't we have an audit team to see if we can claw back some of that money for our schools? And I'd like to hear your comments.
I think that you're 100% right, James. Thank you, and I will comment on that. Stand by for that. Let me get to Herman in Hartford real quick before we go to break. Hello, Herman.
Oh, Reese, I just wanted to thank you for such a great show.
Oh,
I follow you on Facebook, too. And I love the idea of moving that ad to tourism. I just think there might be one more suggestion, if they could possibly put the AG Tong on that ad. And maybe point up to the air and say, "The plane, boss, the plane." I was just thinking that catch people's attention.
You got it.
Attention.
Thank you, Herman. I appreciate you.
All right. Bye
you
now.
Got it. Hey, what James just said, I want to respond to him real quick. After I talked to Mike Ortiz in the next hour, I was speaking yesterday to exactly what James just talked about. And I got word after the show of something that was absolutely amazing, which I'm going to share with you later on. So stand by for that, because when I tell you winter is coming, James, it's coming. And part of it, I got to give props again to the Connecticut Sentinel for it, but I will explain it to you in due course. You got to stick around for a little while, but that's why you're here, because, the show is, it's for you. So I will give you an update on that, James, I promise. Let's get our first check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher. No, not Mark Christopher. Tom O'Hanlon is here. Mark Christopher's off. He is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Tom. All right, we are back. It's Reese on the radio, and in this half of the program, we will sit with that man right there across from me. Mike Ortiz is here. I guess we could call it, is journalist or gonzo journalist, or what do you prefer to be called?
I don't want to be called a gonzo at all, ever.
What? That's like Harry S. Thompson. It's like, Hunter S. Thompson, I'm sorry. That's not a bad term. It's like, because what would you consider yourself? Freelance journalist. Freelance journalist is joining us on the program. We'll talk to him about his model of journalism, what he does, how he does it, why I'm interested in what he does and why he's here, because I caught you online, so I want to talk to you about what you do so I can understand it. And it sounds like from having talked to you now for the last, 10, 15 minutes, you don't need me. You may be doing me a favor. But we'll get into that when we come back. So stand by for that. Again, Mike Ortiz in the house. Let's get another check of traffic and weather. Mark Christopher's out, so we've got Tom O'Hanlon, who's filling in. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back. Reese on the radio. Mike Ortiz is in the building. Thank you for coming out. And were you hesitant to come out? I got the impression you weren't all that eager to come on the show. Probably because you don't need the publicity. You're doing well. I was like, you ain't doing nothing for me.
That's part of the whole persona. You'll never be able to figure out who I am or what
you are. Kind of mysterious. Exactly. You're very set in your little zone. As it were. You were a member of this industry in radio. You even worked in this building
Oh, yeah, my studio right over there.
Right over there. Now, did you work for, which one of our sister stations did you work for?
Hot 93.7.
For Hot 93.7? That's what you have to say, Sib.
Seb.
Yeah, that's because Sibum. That's because of Kid Fresh. It's just a thing I used to poke fun at them about. So you worked over there, and were you a DJ, on-air personality, or producer?
I was production for the whole cluster.
Oh, you were imaging for the whole cluster.
Imaging for the whole cluster.
Wow. Okay.
And then I had a night show on Hot on Saturday for a little while.
Okay.
And that was it.
So what got you into news? Or was it a natural progression? Like, I worked for U-Haul and I opened up a moving company. Was that what it's like? You know what I mean? It's like that was what was the sort of thing that got you into news, or at least reporting on news stories?
Social media just takes its own kind of life. And I have these groups, some of them I own, some of them I moderate, but, I just let the conversation happen, and the conversation started happening this way, especially over the last year.
Right.
Right.
Because you said this didn't happen. Like, you've only been doing this. The Mike Ortiz sort of site on Facebook is how old now?
Well, the CT Neighbors is about 10 years. So the group is about 10 years. My profile is about 10 years. But the reporting, the way it's kind of taken
morphed into
conservative leaning, took its own path.
Right.
The group was bipartisan. The group was not necessarily about.
Yeah, you cover news on everybody.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter who it was. If it was news, you covered it with no bent at all. But you said something interesting in the break, that it started leaning more conservative because of what?
Because of people's kind of fever pitch. What's going on,
Yeah.
And we're getting older, and, this is what's happening. And people are.
But you also said some people on the left were kind of.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, okay. I got you.
Well, no, tell that part, because that's an interesting angle here.
I got you. So, as you let people do their own thing, you start seeing things come out of people that they don't let come out in public.
Yes.
And there's a different person on social media for everyone.
Indeed.
I'm going to tell you that right now.
Keyboard warriors, indeed.
You're a totally different person on social media, and you'll start seeing I will say on the liberals, the left side, they were vulgar stuff. And, they're kind of the people that would put that stuff out there and then point at the mirror and gaslight the mirror, would say, you're mean for doing this, but I'm doing the same thing here. Look, I can show you,
Yeah.
But it morphed into that because the hypocrisy on both sides fueled the fire, and the algo just took it and blew up.
And sure enough, more and more conservatives started sort of running the angle, if you will, on the news aggregate, or is that how it sort of morphed into kind of more conservative?
My thoughts on it is that there's always been a voice that wanted to be heard.
Okay.
But on social media, you got to give a certain comfort level. If you go into ChatGPT and you want to learn, what should I say? How should I say it? How can I engage people? They're going to tell you that people want to be heard, but they don't feel comfortable in certain situations. Let's say I'm on a Lamont thread, and the whole Lamont thread is, blue. A conservative person is not going to be too comfortable coming. They're going to get smashed.
Yeah.
When you give them a home, when you give someone a place, when you give someone to, put fuel on the fire and say, hey, I want to be heard, the fire gets out of control sometimes. That's all.
Yeah. So tell me what Mike Ortiz on Facebook, what's its role on there? When people find you, because I don't really understand how your model works. And that's the reason why you're here, is to help me understand it. Because I'll see something you post, and then there'll be a link to it, to a particular story. Are you like Drudge Report? Are you an aggregate? In essence, Mike Ortiz gives you what the story is, but then gives you a link to where the story, you can find it. Or is it your reporting on said story? Or is it a blend of both?
There's 0 links. You think there's
links. Okay. So that's what I thought.
Links.
Okay. 0 links.
0 links.
So you're all headline based? I don't get it.
No, it's the whole story. Why not give them the whole story?
Okay.
Social media wants you to give them the whole story.
Okay.
Publishers want to give you a little bit of story, so you click to their site.
Gotcha.
That's the publisher model.
So what are you doing?
I'm flipping the game. I'm doing all engagement.
Okay.
I'm giving them the whole story. They stay on platform. It's called on platform.
Okay.
You keep them on platform, keep the engagement there. Facebook pays you as a monetizer. That's the game.
Interesting.
But there's also distribution. We were talking about how I treat it as a street team.
Yeah.
That comes from down there.
Okay, let's sort of unwrap that, because many people do not. A lot of this is radio jargon, but some people might be familiar. So because Mike has been here, he worked at Hot 93.7. We've had these things here at the AM station, but it's normally done in the FM music places. And what they have is called a street team. So in essence, it's a bunch of lackeys running around handing out. No. And those of you who have been on a street team, I say that lovingly because I've been there.
And that lackey could become your program director.
Damn right. They always do.
Better be careful.
They always do.
Yep.
They start off on a street team
careful.
and then run. They're the big boss.
Don't sleep.
So that person who's running all the errands, they're out in the street, they're handing out flyers, they're posting flyers, they're sending out promotional stuff to the people at events. That is what a street team does. So your sort of algorithm or sort of your incarnation of the street team online, how does that work? And is that proprietary? Can you reveal what that is?
I could reveal it because you still wouldn't be able to figure it out.
Okay.
There's a lot more to it than just what's on the table here. But
okay.
When you treat something like a street team, if you have a street team and you have different, they're in different locations. Street team New Britain, street team Waterbury, street team New Haven.
Right.
They're distributing your message.
Your content
message, content, mixtape, flyer.
Yeah.
Information.
Right.
Right. So we take that idea. Now we have what's called groups.
Mm.
And groups have certain regionality, but they also have topicality, niches, right?
Yeah.
They can be a Hartford coffee lovers.
Yeah.
But you got to be careful what you post in there. You're not going to post everything about Lamont and Hartford coffee lovers, right?
Right.
But if you take strategic distribution through groups and you spread it responsibly, the algorithm rewards you. It's just like using a street team and distributing the message where it needs to go.
So you can literally turn like something as – I'll give you an example. I remember in 2008, there was this conversation about what type of person drinks Dunkin' Donuts coffee versus Starbucks. You can do that as part of your, like, in essence, a news story or what do you call it? I'm sorry, like a platform story that people are engaged in or moderate. You moderate that discussion,
exactly.
if you will. And that is, you get paid for that through Facebook because of all of that conversation going back and forth.
Yeah, as soon as you leave a comment thread, I'm gonna challenge everyone. As soon as you leave a comment thread in Facebook or Instagram, as soon as you scroll 2 posts down, there's gonna be an ad. If you looked at my post, that's my ad. But it's in scroll, it's in feed, it's all made to look natural.
So you are not okay, because this is very interesting now. Now I'm even more intrigued. So what you're doing is you're monetizing content where people will drive. So in other words, if it's news stories and you know the news story is hot, they come to you for said news story, and therefore you get to
Facebook places ads. It's not.
Yeah. No, I got you.
Ad.
I got you.
Under a Lamont story, you see a row ad, right?
Right.
Because that makes sense.
Right. Exactly.
Right. So you see a row ad under, and it depends on how many people are in that comment thread, how long they're latent in the comment thread, and how many people click on that ad. You get paid accordingly.
So the only thing you did was, and I'm trying to figure this out myself, but you are monetizing news gathering. Am I right here?
Yeah. Redistribution and showing the ads under the redistributed news.
And what's great about it is, and I'll tell you why I find it fascinating, is that because you don't have to have a particular bent.
No.
Like you can, because again, it's about what the hot story is. Because I looked at your content, and I'll tell you, the things that you were talking about, it is alluring. Because I didn't know who you were, and you just showed up on my feed. And I was like, oh, who's this Mike Ortiz guy? Well, he's talking about a lot of Connecticut news. Oh, he's talking about a story I'm talking about. So I click on it, I look at it, and I'm going, okay, and it doesn't seem like it's, okay, all that different or anything. Then I started seeing it elsewhere. Then, weirdly enough, because I know how this works, I started to become a little bit like, I started to anticipate the next post. What's the next thing going to happen? But that's my own addictive nature because I'm addicted to news, and what you're doing is just sort of doing that same thing. It's like if you're interested in news stories and you're on Facebook, Mike Ortiz is there for you to find said content, find said story, read about that story, and at the same time, maybe you'll click on an ad.
Exactly.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's all. And you don't need anybody to do it. You don't need to work for anybody. You don't need to go to school for it. You don't need to, have a boss.
Right.
It's the beautiful part. And I come from where you come from, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's the best part is just to be able to do your own thing without having to worry about I don't even have to worry about those vaccine mandates.
Right, because you're self-employed. Right. Do you ever, like, when you're doing it, are you checking, like, is there a thing that you are looking at saying, like, what's the heavy story? I'll give you a perfect example. Like, it was just after the bribery angle started in the Aaron Stewart thing, right? And then I saw your post on that. And of course, that's because the algorithm is already seeing that I'm interested in that story. So Mike Ortiz pops up, and he's got a story about the same thing. So when you are posting stories at all, I should say ever, are you checking what is trending, or is it instinctive? Like, in other words, are you looking at the news from a sense of, that seems like a hot story, I'm there, or are you checking out, this story's getting a lot of burn?
Without using up too much time.
Okay.
Without using too much time, I'll introduce you to a concept that a lot of business owners are going to have to start learning about, and a lot of radio.
Yeah, you talk about this a lot.
Yeah. There's one term. It's called algorithmic deference. Mm-hmm. There's actually guys in the street that I say have algorithmic deference. They get all of the accidents, right? They get all of the accidents. I'm not there when those happen.
Right.
They have like a deference to get those things. I started building algorithmic deference because I was the only one covering it, and the algo saw that. So everything that's put out there, I get it pumped first, nationwide, local. The algo wants me to redistribute that story so they can pump ads under it again and again. They want that story delivered again by a different person in a different way, in a different format, because they can put different ads under it. It's going to a different algo. It's getting seen by different people.
Wow.
So it doesn't matter if the WTNH did it. They want Mike Ortiz to deliver to that algo because they're going to deliver those ads. They have an ad inventory set up for everyone's algo. We have Jimmy Eats in Hartford. He has his own algo.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, is this what causes that sort of rift between you and others in this business, is because you kind of all are vying for this same algorithmic deference, as you refer to it?
No rift here, because that doesn't exist. Your
algo, it doesn't.
It doesn't exist, no. Your algo is your algo. I can prove data-wise that most of one creator's algo does not really blend with mine in a way that I would hurt them. That everyone has their own. That's why I said, the guys who are covering, a certain thing like an accident,
mm-hmm.
Or an arrest, they get it first, and you're going to see that, and you're going to see they're going to get it constantly and over and over and over. That's their thing. That's their algorithmic deference, right?
Gotcha. Okay. That's wild.
Yeah.
It's a really, really interesting perspective on news gathering, on news distribution.
Yeah.
And I would have never known it existed if not for you. And it's so weird that this is widespread. Like, this is everywhere, or is this only a niche that's like sort of beginning to grow?
I didn't invent this.
I know. I gathered that.
There's people online. His first name is Jordan. I forget. He's huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about these in the same terms I'm using. I'm not making up things. Algorithmic deference.
Yeah.
Graphing. A graph is when you develop a system to distribute, like I was telling you off air.
Yeah.
Waterbury stories to Waterbury. And I own that, you own that graph if you're distributing effectively, right?
Mm.
And people talk about this outside of Connecticut, but it's hard to pay attention to, because how many people know what to do with that information, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to kind of.
Are you distributing stories more than the establishments like TNH and FSB? Do you get more traction than they do? Let me give you an example in case you don't know. So, like, WFSB has an average of 50,000 viewers. That's their hardline viewership. You doing better than that?
What's 50,000 viewers? Where?
50,000 viewers in their newsroom, like their news programming.
A day?
That's about a day.
So I can show you my metrics. Most posts get in the day 100,000 each.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So that's about views. So last week I peaked out at a million views day. I had one day that was a million.
Was it a local story?
Oh man, it was an ICE story.
No, that's important. That is an important point.
It was an ICE story.
That is, of course, that's an important point. No, that's brilliant. Hold on. We're going to take a break. We're going to get to the BPS traffic center. You have no idea what you're revealing to this audience and to me. It's a very interesting conversation. I hope you understand it. Well, of course you know. Let's take another break. Let's get to weather and traffic. Oh, and congratulations, Fitz, on the move. As well. Fritz the cat just moved. Let's get to Tom O'Hanlon. He is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right. We'll do stupidest thing I read today coming up after my interview with Mike Ortiz, who's here. We're sitting in the background talking about war stories, mine mostly, than anything in the world. But we're going to continue to talk to him about his sort of news model, because I'm very fascinated by a lot of things, but I'm very fascinated about this. But I'm going to ask you a couple of things about the news stories that are in and around Connecticut. You've been here in the state since you were 2 years old. So this is all you know. Did you move here from New York, by the way?
Puerto Rico.
You came straight from Puerto Rico.
From the island, yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yep.
Wow. Can I ask you a weird question? Are your folks still alive?
Yes.
Okay. Do they still speak Spanish?
They never spoke it with us. I learned it on my own.
Oh, really?
I learned that on my own.
Everybody your age who I grew up with in New York, they're now your age. When they came here, their parents did not speak a lick of English.
They all
spoke Spanish, no matter what.
Yeah.
I remember Betsy's mom. She used to scream at me because she didn't know how to speak English. She said, "Don't talk to me that way." That's how she spoke. "Don't you dare talk to me that way." I said, "Oh, it's okay, Betsy's mom." That's what we called her. We didn't know her last name. But yeah, she was hardcore Puerto Rican. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what you do and how you do it, and of course, what some of the stories are that are captivating you because you live here. Because I know how can you not be sort of invested in some of these stories? If I were to ask you, since I got like a minute, what is like the biggest story you're paying attention to today?
Today.
Just the headline. Today, if you had to pick anything.
Well, there's great stories today. $30 to $34 ain't going to cut it, Lamont.
Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. That's the story that's bothering me. That was the one that was bothering me. I thought the $200 was an insult, and then I hear about the $34. I'm like, you know what? I only have I've got a minute before I get Tom O'Hanlon in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. So I'm going to wait till we ask again. I'm going to ask you this only because because again, I get to be anybody. I get to be as crazy about this stuff as I can. But when we come back, I want to ask you about if there's a story that ever frustrates you that the media doesn't cover. So I want to get into all of that when we return. Mike Ortiz is here. Stand by for him. And much, much more. Getting you home in for Mark Christopher is Tom O'Hanlon. He is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
I'm Tom O'Hanlon from the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Westbound on 84, we are heavy from Main Street over into Route 2. 2 is busy on the westbound side, feeding up into 84. We've got something working there. Plenty of traffic, maybe a fender bender involved too. Westbound across the river, it's slow over into Hartford. Founders Bridge is feeling that too if you're trying to cross there. Now, if you're going down 91, we have plenty of traffic working your way into Jennings. Right around the area of North Meadows, we're looking at plenty of traffic. And as you're getting down to 84, it gets slow. On Route 3, we're in pretty good shape. Wilbur Cross is moving along with the usual traffic, no major problems. Up and down on 91 between Hartford and New Haven, we are pretty good. 95 southbound, busy through New Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
We've got lots of sunshine out there for the rest of the afternoon with a high temperature of 69, increasing clouds down to 42 overnight. Those clouds will give way to some sunshine tomorrow with a high of 63, mainly clear, 38 degrees tomorrow night. A passing shower or two for your Saturday, partly sunny, the high 54. Sunshine and some clouds on Sunday, the high temperature 60, and intervals of some sun and clouds on Monday with a high of 63. Right now it's 68 in Cheshire, 67 in New Britain, and 70 in Hartford. This is meteorologist Chad Merrill in the WTIC Weather Center.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Dial pound law.
Nicholas Russo, 157 Church Street, New Haven, 06510.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new Energy Refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New Energy Refreshers, only at Starbucks.
Got a tree causing big trouble in a tiny space? Don't risk it. Call the experts who specialize in the impossible jobs. At Tree Wise Guys of Connecticut, we handle the heavy lifting so you don't have to. From precision limb cutting and stump grinding to full land cleaning and emergency storm damage cleanup. No job is too big and no space is too tight. When it matters most, trust the guys who know trees. Trust Tree Wise Guys of Connecticut. Visit TreeWiseGuysCT.com today to get a free quote on your next project. That's TreeWiseGuysCT.com.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
So is that what I get for not listening? I should have been paying attention. Mike Ortiz is here hanging out with Reese on the radio. And how do they just look up Mike Ortiz on Facebook? And what other social media sites are you on? Is it just Facebook?
I'd say the bigger thing is CT Neighbors. That's the big group for the state.
Okay, CT Neighbors. Yeah. And is that on?
You just go on Facebook, type in CT Neighbors. That's I'm the only one with that keyword. I own that keyword. I promise.
Okay, all right.
I promise I own that keyword.
So you have started covering these news stories, and a lot of them are the news items that are hot that everyone's already talking about. But before the break, I had asked you, are there any stories that you have to cover because you know that the regular mainstream media isn't covering? And what are those stories as of late, if any, or, past stories that you had to sort of bring some attention to because you kind of felt like it was being ignored?
Well, and I'm glad you said that about, recycling news.
Right.
About 50% of my stuff is actually original stuff that I bring to light.
Right.
I told you I own groups, I moderate groups, and I'm in all these groups. The news comes to me, like I told you.
Yeah.
What comes to me through the groups that most people aren't part of, the Latino groups, Brazilian, Portuguese-speaking groups. I speak Portuguese as well.
Okay.
These people put through what the mainstream media will not put through. They put through when ICE is in their store, ICE is right in front of their car, ICE is right in front of their door in their car looking at them. They'll post those pictures, and if you don't grab them quick, it'll get pulled.
Wow.
The algo will pull it. Those are the things that the mainstream media doesn't want you to know, because they don't want you to know what is happening on the streets with ICE. They want you to think what Lamont tells you. ICE out. They're not here. We're keeping the streets safe without ICE. No. There's about 3 or 4 arrests this week that I've had.
So it's so great you're talking about this. Fantastic that you were talking about this. So sitting right there in that chair, Mark from West Hartford, I'm going to get you two connected. He just asked for your number, so I'm going to make sure you do. You guys do. He sat here and he said something that a lot of people don't know. And this whole idea with John Larson and Lamont and of course William Tong, are always talking about how we are not going to cooperate with ICE. We are not going to cooperate with the feds. And Mark Walsh from West Hartford said, don't believe any of that nonsense. There are local police officers that work directly with the feds. So that for navigate, logistics, for CIs, whatever the case is, because the beat cops and the cops who work here, they're the ones who are navigating the ICE or the federal agents in and around those neighborhoods. So please do not believe that these two are apart in any way. So what you are expressing is this idea that, don't worry, folks, Ned Lamont's got you. ICE is not in town. You're telling me that these people are posting, here they are right here.
But in Spanish and Portuguese. So you got to be able to pick that up. You got to be able to pick that up quick.
So that's the reason why this reporting is important anyway. Exactly. Is because you are telling the story, sort of the underbelly that is ignored by mainstream media, partially because they can't afford to be there, and two, they don't even really service those communities.
No, it's deeper than that, my friend. It's deep.
Okay, come on. No, just give me. I'm just speculating here.
You understand the connection between media conglomerates. It's the story
Indeed.
They don't want pushed. It'll get. I'm not talking about. It's not going to get pushed. I'm talking about if you don't catch that picture, the algorithm itself will cut you
eliminate
off.
it.
Eliminate it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a story last week from Norwalk. Norwalk has an actual history of this from last year. The same exact almost story I'm going to tell you right now. Last week in Norwalk, they had a group of ICE agents that called the Norwalk PD and said, we know that this guy is in there. He's wanted for sexual assault. They gave him they gave Norwalk PD 3 chances to cooperate, and they didn't cooperate. The guy walks out. The suspect walks out. They grab him in the parking lot with the chief yelling at them. I have that on video. I have that posted on my.
And the chief is yelling at the ICE agents for grabbing him.
Yeah, we tried to do this nicely. They had to get the guy out the car, and they had to smash the windows and everything. But that's happening, and that's not being reported. And there's documented data proof. I have it on my timeline.
So because you're saying that there's something more to this than what I'm describing. Because I'm saying, first of all, I already know that whole idea that the news media will not report. It's what they keep silent is the thing that you should be paying attention to the most, right? What they're not reporting is the loudest thing to pay attention to. What you're saying is that these things are going on Despite this idea that Lamont, because they platform Lamont and Tong and Blumenthal, like, no ICE is in here. We're stopping them. Get them out of here. Where truthfully, these guys are in here grabbing people up because they have to, because they are ever present. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, supremacy clause. I mean, they have to do their job. They're going to do their job. They're required to do their job. And nothing that the state leader is going to say is going to stop them from doing their job. Trump has said that. He's just doing it more quietly.
Yeah. It's all platitudes,
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day. And you said one of the things you noticed, right? So on an average, you might get about 100,000 views on a story that the media will only get 50,000 views on. But when it's ICE, you said you could see 1 million.
Yeah, I had an ICE story at 1 million last week. I mean, and regular ICE stories, the regular numbers for those are 150 to 300K in 2 or 3 days. That's the kind of metrics you give because no one's covering. Who else is going to cover it?
Yeah. Because it's only like the big story if it involves like Renee Good or Alex Preddy. Those stories, national stories, everybody else picks up on that, even though there are bigger and much more interesting stories that are happening right here locally.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you that you're seeing the headlines. I'm clearly delivering you the truth.
Yeah.
It says, listen, sexual assault suspect arrested by ICE today. Here's the details. This isn't a nice person. This isn't a kind person. This is the type of person we want
off the streets.
We want them gone. I'm not saying nice person.
Is that the sentiment, though? No, because that's a good point. Because you said you're dealing with communities you're dealing with Puerto Ricans, Portuguese, and what other groups of people are there?
All Latinos.
All Latinos.
All Latinos. Yeah.
What is the sentiment like? Because of course they're commenting, they're communicating with each other on these subjects. What's that like? What's the temperament in those comments?
How many Puerto Ricans voted for Trump this time around?
A lot.
Almost all of them. Wow. That's the temperament. Because what has happened is, you can call it soft crimes. You can call it paper crimes. You can call it what you want. You can call it not the worst of the worst. But what happens with the Puerto Rican community that you pointed out, you even pointed out the huge Puerto Rican community.
Indeed. It's the largest here in Connecticut.
So what happens with these guys? We're legal. We're Latinos speaking Spanish, but we're also citizens. That's
correct.
We're targets of these frauds. We're targets, and there's a lot of people that will report in my DM. I've gotten targeted the same way you have, for immigration fraud. Because they use a Puerto Rican isn't a direct, easy target. Latino, speaking Spanish.
Whoa. Are you telling me that illegals are targeting Puerto Ricans like as fraudulent ways, like Social Security numbers and things like that? Identification kind of fraud?
No, just for the marriage part. Just to get in, tell them, give you ulterior motives.
Right.
And then you find out they have a husband in their country that they were planning on bringing up after they were done with this plan.
Wow.
It's happened to me, my family, and other people I know.
So there is a degree of animus where these folks are saying, we're the ones that are being affected by this. So when ICE comes in and they remove illegals, especially those who are assaulting children, and doing and other even crazy things like murder or whatever the case may be, there are people in the Hispanic community or Latino community who are cheering this on.
Self-sufficiency. That's all. Self-protection. That's all that's happening.
That's amazing to hear. No, but I need this audience to hear that because they don't know it's happening.
No.
They do not know. And, as I said to you earlier, like I said, you don't need me, but I kind of feel like, in a weird, twisted way, that we kind of needed you today because I would have never known if I didn't bump into your post. And it just kept showing up everywhere. And I'm like, why is this guy showing up everywhere on my feed? But as I'm seeing the stories, I'm going, oh, this is interesting. Oh, you know what? This guy's covering some stuff that I'm not seeing in the mainstream. It looks like he's getting a lot of hits. So I'm going, let me see if I can get my audience to at least I can have that conversation with you so that my audience can get to know you. What's more important is that we need politicians to know that story's out there. The mainstream media here kind of rules the roost, even if they don't have the audience.
Yeah.
They are believed to be the most prominent and the most important voices that are out there, kind of ignoring. It's sort of like the Dan Rather thing. When Dan Rather got completely had his career destroyed by a blogger of all things. Many people in the mainstream news media said, bloggers, well, who were they? Well, sure enough, they became the news, right? They became the people who told us the truth. So I kind of feel like that's what you're revealing here is sort of a subset of news gathering that reveals the underbelly of something that completely changes it changes everything.
Yeah.
With that one story or those two stories, it changes everything. That we are led to believe that there is a community out there, or at least the Lamonts and the Justin Ellikers are leading us to believe. They do, well, you laugh at them, but they're leading us to believe that there's a community out there that's actually rooting for these folks. But the truth be told, they are actually working against the will of the people, especially the Hispanic community.
I mean, how many of those people are at No Kings rallies? How colorful are they?
It's a great point. It is a great point. Like we keep saying, I don't see any blacks here, but I don't see any Latinos either.
I looked. I went.
So do I.
I actually saw an interview here at one of those rallies, and they had a white lady actually say, no, this isn't for them. This isn't for the color.
I know.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know. I remember it.
Yeah.
This isn't for the blacks.
This isn't for them.
Fantastic. Oh, my goodness. Mike, you have no idea. This has been an education. You wouldn't believe. Please keep me posted. Anything that you've got going on, let me know. I mean, in essence, you kind of, you're sort of doing me a solid if you throw me some news. You don't really need me. I thought I was hooking you up. But no, I'm glad, to be honest with you. I love the fact that in this space, there's a degree of naivete on my part because, I've always known, don't get me wrong, I'll never forget the first time I ever spoke to one of my assistants, a young lady named Cindy from El Salvador. And she and I were having a conversation one day about illegals. I was in Northern Virginia where, they were catching MS-13. As soon as Trump got into office in 2016, MS-13 was getting rounded up everywhere. And we had one town, it was called Little Mexico near Woodbridge. Turns out everybody there's from Peru, weirdly. But racist. But I asked her one day, I said, what is the sort of the background of like people from El Salvador, like who are here legally versus those who are not? And she says, you really want to hear this? And I went, yeah. She goes, we really don't like illegals. And I went, what? And she was like, no. She goes, I have to say this because I want to put the gravity of it. She says to me, people in her family and people in her community who are legal look at those who are illegal in the community the way that a person would call you the N-word. And I went, yeah, that's the way they view illegals. And I went, why? And she goes, obviously for jobs, obviously for culture, obviously because they behave criminally. We are here to get jobs, to take care of our families, to buy homes. These people are just scraping by, and they just don't have the same values that we do. They bring their values here. We came here to get away from that. And she said that the way that we treat them, and we don't even want to, we don't want to be in their company. And I went, but they're from the same community. I said, but it's a different mindset. And I went, wow, like I was floored by that because I couldn't believe it. And I asked other professionals the same thing, and I kept getting that no matter where I went. It was that divide. And I went, why doesn't anybody know about this? But as you reveal, there's a reason why, because they'll never report on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a quick tidbit. My when everything went down with my ex and I found out about everything, I found boxes of identities of names that were like, first name with a different last name with a different first name. This is a thing. They have plays. They have people called koyoshis that bring these people up and do this. They come up with different documents for different parts. They discard their ID at the border, get a new one when they come to the border. It's part of the play. And Trump kind of got himself locked down when he said worst of the worst. But some of these paper crimes do hurt people. They hurt. Yeah, they're people. Not. They really hurt people.
Of course they do.
They hurt people.
I agree with you. Saying the worst of the worst, people are going to hold you to that. And if Trump deviates from that immediately, it's Armageddon. But you're absolutely right. Those paper crimes, those things, they do hurt people because they're stealing people's identities. They're stealing money from them, and a lot of people getting locked up for some of this stolen identity stuff. We talk about it all the time. Damn. It's an interesting point because a lot of people don't. They don't. Mike Ortiz, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you check them out. So just go to, what is it, CT?
So it's CT Neighbors, and I have a page for the real conservatives, Flip CT Red. You type in Flip CT Red, and that's our movement going forward till midterms.
Listen, I need everybody who is in any circle to share this stuff everywhere and to get the word out no matter what. You're doing fantastic stuff. I really do believe that. And I'm so happy that I got an opportunity to sort of see it firsthand, and to have you here. Just please stay in touch with me because I got to read more of your stuff. You have no idea. Like right now, you're like my homework when I get out of here because I got to read so much stuff. Is that one thing about the Norwalk arrest? Is that still on your on the page?
That's on my profile. Yeah,
that's on your profile. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Because I want to check. I want to check that out immediately. Mike, thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate it. And you'll definitely be back.
Oh yeah, anytime. God bless me.
Okay, absolutely. I'd love to. All right, let's get another check of traffic and weather.
From politics to news to music to movies and anything above the sun and outer space and beyond, it's Reese on the radio. Damn, he's good. Only on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
All right, Reese on the radio, like the man said. Let's get to it. News. Let's get in there real quick with music news. Josh Kishka was born today in 1996. He turns 30 years old. He is the lead singer of Greta Van Fleet. Great band. Tao Cruz, the British singer and songwriter, produced the massive hit Dynamite and Break Your Heart, turns 46. Stan Frazier, he is 58. That's the Sugar Ray drummer. Someday, never mind, if you know Sugar Ray, you know this. Anyway, Narada Michael Walden, the R&B jazz-fused drummer. who used to work with Aretha Franklin and Whitney Houston, turned 74 today. Album chart anniversaries: 32 years ago, Pink Floyd's Division Bell hits number 1 in the UK. 38 years ago, Whitney Houston's Where Do Broken Hearts Go hits number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1988. 38 years ago, Iron Maiden, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, hits number 1 in the UK album chart. That was in 1988. 43 years ago, David Bowie's Let's Dance hits number 3. Oh, hits a 3-week run at number 1. The Ramones' self-titled debut album hit in 1976, 50 years ago. And the Rolling Stones' Sticky Fingers was released in 1971, 55 years ago today. That is your music news. Hey, do you want to win a chance to go to the 11th Commandment debate with candidates vying for the GOP gubernatorial mantle? Well, you can. You have to call 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. WTIC News Talk 1080 will host the 11th Commandment Republican gubernatorial debate with candidates on May 7th. From 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the private event room at Stadium 15 in Farmington. But you can win now. If you don't win, you can always go to WTIC.com, click on More, click on Contests, and fill out the form, and we will see if you will get a chance to go. All right? And WTIC's 11th Commandment Republican gubernatorial debate is sponsored by AARP Connecticut. Get on those lines, 860-522-WTIC. Mark Christopher's out. Tom O'Hanlon is in.
It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back. All right, Reese on the Radio right now. Congratulations goes to Donald in Enfield. He is our winner today. He will be joining us at the WTIC News Talk 1080's 11th Commandment Republican gubernatorial debate with candidates vying for the Republican nomination on May 7th at 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the private event room at Stadium 15 in Farmington. And that debate, of course, will be live, and he will be in the audience. If you want a chance to also win, you can still go online at WTIC.com, click on More, then Contest, and fill out the form. All right. And it is, again, sponsored by AARP Connecticut. Let me go to Adam in Torrington. He was on hold for a bit. What's up going on, Adam?
Hey, Reese. It's an honor to be on the radio with the most racist man in Connecticut.
The world's most hated and most racist host in Connecticut.
Yeah, they're not a fan of you in the mainstream media here.
No,
but I called because of what's going on with this Southern Poverty Law Center story, and this is connected. I get called a racist all the time, so it doesn't even faze me anymore. I know these
I have absolved you, though, Adam. I have given you reprieve. I absolve you of all guilt. No more.
All right. So a lot of these actors we see out there, a lot of them are funded by SPLC. They're the more egregious ones. Mm-hmm. But the purpose of that is to try and neutralize the actual nationalist spirit that is rising in America. And it's all related to immigration. That's why Trump won 2 terms. Mm-hmm. It's the total demographic collapse in America. People are mad about that. Mm-hmm. They're looking for answers. And so the left trots out their little controlled characters, I think that Fuentes guy is one of the primary ones. And they push the narrative, and it goes totally off the rails. So a lot of these younger guys do get caught up in that. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to speak on their behalf almost. They have real grievances. We don't want to lose our country to uncontrolled immigration.
And we don't want to lose it to grifters either, or people who behave poorly and then blame systemic racism for the way in which they behave. I mean, that's the part for me. And I get the whole, immigration is one of the things I've been paying attention to. I want to say 30 years. It's literally been in my sights. But Adam, the thing that bothers me the most is the behavior from those who think that this is permitted because of so-called systemic racism. If I may, I'd like to give you an example. Did you hear this story out of the New York Times lately? I mean, just recently. They had an opinion podcast called The Rich Don't Play by the Rules. Why Should I? They're trying to explain a new term called micro-looting, which in essence,
yes.
Have you heard about it? Okay.
Yep.
So you are in the know. So for those of you who do not, and Adam can express a little bit on this as well, what it's suggesting is that looting from large businesses are okay because the rich have been stealing from the workers forever. And that's, again, because this is a racist and classist and, have versus have not society. So the people who are supposed to be our moral superiors get to behave in the most egregious ways, and they should be apologized for it.
Yes. Yep.
So, and I don't know if you saw, but I guess this guy, whatever his name is, Hassan Piker, this piece of garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, well, see, that goes like hand in hand with the whole Democrat battle tactic. Ever since, when was it, 1969 Hart-Celler Act?
Yeah.
They decided they were going to jettison the working class of America and import their rainbow coalition in order to secure their power base. And what can they unify that rainbow coalition on is they're the have-nots, and they want to go after the haves. So they bring the poor from all these different cultures, different countries that can't really assimilate, and they give them a target, and it's the rich, it's the white man, it's all the established power structure of the country. And the travesty is that this all happened after the Civil Rights era, after we'd already dealt with all the racism issues, we'd already come up with solutions to this, and then they throw in, what was Lamont saying down in Norwich? They have like 30 different languages spoken there.
Yeah.
They have all these new ethnicities, so we have all those problems, which it used to just be a white and black issue that we had to work through as a country. Right. Now it's so much more.
It's a Crayola box. It's a Crayola box of despair.
And I mean, look at every country that's ever tried. They look at recent history, Yugoslavia. You can't have all this rainbow coalition of different ethnicities, different cultures, put them all together and say you're going to get along. It just doesn't happen in human history.
You're 100.
It's all about immigration. We got to refine our nationalism and find actual leaders who aren't funded by the left.
Hey, I will go one step further. I will go one step further, Adam. Not only do we need to find our nationalism, we need to enforce it. Because we cannot stand without it, and we've got to stop feeling guilty about that.
Yes, and no more Pakistani flags in the CT State.
Damn right. Sure. Damn right. I hear you. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for holding.
Thank you, Reese.
Great call. Let me tell you something. Adam brings a very good point. As he was speaking, I was thinking about this. There used to be a time where the left in this country was a make love, not war faction, if you will. Right? They were peace, love, and happiness. Come on, brother. I love you. Put down your arms. Just love. There used to be that way, you know? And let me tell you, folks, I need the left to understand something. Who you are, you're not getting a date to the prom. I am not asking you to the prom. Let me put this in the simplest of terms for you. When you are trying to get information from a secret agent, as they do in the movies, the bad guy, Dr. No, will send James Bond perhaps a lovely lady, a very giving woman, if you will. She's a honeypot. She is there to get him to drop his defenses. And if he is stupid enough, he will give her everything she wants. That's the whole idea. She doesn't approach him and say, "Hey, you scumbag, get me the secrets." No. She wines him, she dines him, she flirts. She bats the eyelids. She gets a little freaky. But the point is, she's got something to offer. And that's usually how you get anything, even if you have an ulterior motive. Generally, you are trying to get flies with honey. But the left never tries that. It is always getting what they want through anger, division, or war. And they expect you to just give it up. You don't want to give it to me! You're the enemy! You're evil! You're morally reprehensible! And you're expecting us to go, well, thank you for correcting me. Sure, what would you like? Seriously, have the store. Do you think that's going to work? No. It doesn't. It's never going to work. And Adam brings a good point. I'm giving you nothing. I can't give you anything. You spent the last 10 years lying to us. Everything you said, everything you did, you lied about. And you made us jump through hoops. You had us, hop on one leg, bark like a dog. Arf, arf, arf. A big dog. A woof, woof. That's a Coming to America reference. That's what you made us do. And then we found out. You've been pulling the rug from us. You've been pulling the wool over our eyes, the whole bit. And now you think, after all of this, we're going to give up the goods? No, it's over. You got nothing now. Damn, I thought when we found out about COVID, it was going to be over. But this Southern Poverty Law Center, that's it, man. That is at the core of everything you guys have been about in the last 10 years. Everything was racism. Hell, before Donald Trump, it was about racism. So you can get your little Kenyan boy in. And don't blame me. He said it, not me. You made it all about racism. That's what you've been doing. It's been, 16, 17 years. You guys have been busting our hump about everything is racism. I'm still never going to forgive you for what you did to Darius Rucker at the lighting of the Christmas tree at Rockefeller Center. I'm never going to forgive you for that. I don't even like Hootie. What you did to that man when he said, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, what you did on Twitter was absolutely unforgivable. I can't. You made that into a racial fight. I mean, everything was racist. And after the Southern Poverty Law Center, if you think that we're going to stand by, we're just going to say, yeah, we forgive you. No, it's over. Don't come at me with no handouts. All of you, flat broke. I want a clearance sale. That's all I want. I want you outside. I want you outside of the NAACP buildings. I want you outside of the Urban League buildings. I want you outside of the Black Lives Matter 860 tent. They don't have a building. And I want you selling Black Lives Matter T-shirts for 70% off. That's what I want. I want to see it. Everything on sale. I want a clearance sale for all of that nonsense you put us through. It's over. It's over. And I'm going to be standing there. I want that place to look like a thrift store when we're done with it. You want to get back in our good graces? You got to call this out. You do. Al Sharpton, Benjamin Crump, all of it. Mayors, governors. You too, Lamont. Remember after the George Floyd nonsense? Oh, baby, and that day's coming. I can't wait till that day comes. I want all of you with egg on your face. I want all of you. I mean, this is the time you're going to have to come out and apologize. Some of you Republicans, too. I didn't even call you out. And I should. I might even. But you all owe us. You owe us for old and new. Sure enough, do. Jerry's in Stratford. Let me get to him. How you doing, big guy?
Hey, Reese, excellent monologue there, and yeah, I thought it was a Babylon Bee story at first when I heard about the Southern Poverty Law Center, for years, I always thought they themselves were a hate group because they spread hate against people who disagreed with them.
Yeah.
And most recently, assassination victim Charlie Kirk was one of their targets.
What was it, 4 months after they placed him on their hate list?
And it's Family Research Council, they put them on there, and they got hit earlier. So
I don't even know. I think, did Tony Perkins pass away? That was his organization. I remember him. He used to be on Fox all the time. Tony Perkins from the Family Research Center. That's the only reason why I know the organization.
I can't say I
No, it's
know.
okay. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't a quiz. I apologize. But no, but you're right. What they did to the Family Research Center in Washington, D.C. almost cost that security guard his life.
Anyway, I actually called about something different. First, I regret myself. I missed Mullah Murphy Day, and I'm glad that some people are finally looking into, let's call it, the unnatural relations that Senator Chris Mullah Murphy has with the Ayatollahs and the mullahs in Iran.
Indeed.
It reminds me of when John Kerry went to Paris to counsel the North Vietnamese government in its peace negotiations with the United States. He was there to represent and help the North Vietnamese,
right?
Not the United States. And so Mullah Murphy seems to have, some unnatural fondness for people you would think whose worldview is the exact opposite of his in terms of social liberalism.
Well, Jerry, let me tell you this, because listen to me, you were right over the target. As I said yesterday, I believe that Chris Murphy's dreams of higher office are now doused because of his polling, which is, again, nothing north of 10%. I think it's even lower than that. I think he's got other worldly views that he is going, like worldly ambitions, I should say, that are going to happen for him. I think after this term, he's done with politics because there's another avenue for him. And I bet a dollar to a donut that it's going to be with Alex Soros.
Very possible, but there's an even bigger story today. One that harkens also back to the past, and I'll try to get it to it quickly.
No, hold on, because I'm going to have to go to a break. I got to go to a hard one, but I'm going to put you on hold. I will let you get that off in a minute. Okay, Stand by. You got it, of course. Jerry will join us on the other end, and let's get to weather and traffic. Mark Christopher's out. We got Tom O'Hanlon. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
We're back. It's Reese on the radio. Let me get to Jerry real quick, and then that story that John Silver just gave about an inmate passing away. This is an inmate that was just picked up yesterday for a shooting that happened a year ago, and now he's dead. What is going on? Let me get to Jerry real quick. Jerry, what was the point that you wanted to make before I had to cut you off? You said you called it about something else.
Well, we got all these other big stories, but it's back today all over the workplace. Was crawling with little urchins. It's Take Your Daughter to Work Day once again. I thought it had passed away 20 years ago. And
really?
Abe Vigoda keeps coming back. But it reminds me of an article that I read about profiled two dads participating in Take Your Daughter to Work Day.
Uh-huh.
The first worked at a plastic molding shop that made plastic vomit and rubber turds for joke shops. and the second worked at a state penitentiary where he was the executioner.
Oh, no.
And so in this article, as it turns out, there was an execution on the Take Your Daughter to Work Day. And so the first one, the dad was glowing over how impressed his daughter was to make plastic vomit and rubber turds, and could see how enlightening and how important, working for a paycheck was, and how you can make other people happy with the product of your work. And on the second one, the girl felt the empowerment of actually her dad let her throw the switch and had the guy. Now, I know this article very well because I wrote it. And I circulated around my employer at the time as a goof.
That is probably the best story I've ever heard. Please send that to me. I want every part of that story.
It's I will. It came about a year after I wrote a Earth Day memo about the company celebrating Earth Day with tuna safe dolphin on the menu, and they were having a bonfire where you could burn old tires and paint cans to help bring in the special.
This is great stuff, Jerry. Please send that to me. I got to let you go, but thank you for that. That's really, really good stuff. Absolutely.
Later.
Thank you, man. Okay, I got to get into the story. Thank you, Mark. Mark is sending me a message. Adam 12 is sending me a message just going, this is insanity. That this person is looks like another inmate dead. There used to be a story that said that it was safer for the black man in prison. I'm not kidding. It was written in 2012. Really, I'm not kidding. Let's take another break. Weather and traffic coming up. Mark Christopher is out, so we've got Tom O'Hanlon. He is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is.
You know who it is. It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
No? There we go. All right, we're about to get up out of here, and we will see you tomorrow. We'll give some more details about these prisoners that are dying in Connecticut Corrections custody. This kid, the only reason why I remembered the name is because I heard John Silva say the kid's name yesterday. And I'm listening to the name. I'm like, I know that kid. I heard his name yesterday. Then I saw his face on FSB. And the only reason why I remember this kid's face is because I kept saying, that's a guy? He looks effeminate. And, dead. Johnson was his name. Died at noon today. I don't know. Rival gang stuff? Who knows? It could be. Stuff like that always seems to be it always seems to be the case. And I'm assuming because there aren't a lot of correction facilities in Connecticut that all of them end up in one place and they don't section them off. Usually they do that. Thank you, Jason. Much appreciated. I don't know. That whole... Maybe I'll give Devon a call. I know there's no way he can come on the air today or at any time for that matter while you're trying to deal with that because that's just crazy. All right, we'll get to the bottom of it. We'll find out what's going on. Also, before we go, and maybe we'll talk about this tomorrow, Democrats are saying that the House Bill 5044 is not a vaccine mandate. No one is calling it a vaccine mandate. That's not what the argument is. And that is going out to Senator Anwar. It's not about a vaccine mandate. No one has ever made an argument about it being a vaccine mandate. What you're missing is that it gives the public health commissioner, the single-pointed commissioner, that singular individual, that person makes vaccine rules. There is no discussion. There is no public response. One person in charge. It might as well be a mandate. Because the determination by that individual without discussion, without anyone presenting all other facts, or an alternative perspective, that person supersedes the individual. Especially with these people screwing around with no kings, huh? Weird. You know, we asked someone about that at the No Kings rally, Roseanne and I. And, they didn't even know what we were talking about. They were so invested in Washington politics, they had no idea what was going on here in the state. Wild how that happens. more concerned. It's just wild. Led to believe that everything Donald Trump is doing affects them in their own backyard. And then when you ask them about their own backyard, complete numbskulls. Kind of weird, but there we go. So, so Senator Anwar, it's not about vaccine mandates. No one's ever made that argument. It's not. You're trying to suggest that we're confused. We're not. This has always been about the power being in the hands of one individual and who has a track record of pushing the COVID vaccine on children and others, despite her colleagues cautioning her on it. That's what you're missing. And the fact that you are trying to distract us with it isn't a vaccine mandate. Like we don't know what it's about. Clearly, you don't. So we'll talk about that. Hopefully, whatever. It's likelihood that no one is going to, no one's going to push back on this. Can I tell you what the revolt should look like? This is what I believe the revolt should be. When that time comes, when this woman clearly starts smelling herself, I'm in charge. And she starts suggesting that your kid take a particular vaccine that you're not okay with, make a big ass stink about it. A lot of you. We should see the numbers that we saw with homeschooling moms. We should see that kind of response and make them notice and say, no, hell no. I don't care what you say. Arrest us. That's what it should be. And you should make sure that they all see it. Everybody sees it. That's what should happen. This is my buddy Rand. Is this Rand?
This is Rand.
My Rand?
Reese, this is Rand Stanley, Broadbrook, Connecticut.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm thinking Rand all the way in Massachusetts. My bad. What's going on, big guy?
What part of Massachusetts, Reese?
Massachusetts in, I want to say, northern Boston.
Okay. I've been kicked out of northern Boston. So
okay. Hey, everybody's been kicked out of better places, you know?
And you know why, too, don't you?
That's right, sir. That's right. What do you got for me today?
Too much fun. You got to talk to Senator Anwar and see how he feels about cholesterol.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Cholesterol do your job himself.
Yeah, and maybe he can come up with a vaccine.
100% right. You know, I thank you, man. I totally appreciate the call. Have a good one. And stay out of Boston. I haven't been there in a bit. I need to get back. I went to Tewksbury at least in Thanksgiving. Was it Thanksgiving the last time I was there? Thanksgiving. Yeah, it was Thanksgiving Day last time I was there. Yeah, Anwar. Goodness gracious, man, this guy. Boy, he is too much. Anyway, the core to criticism is the bill centralized the decision to make one unelected a person the public health commissioner, and that one decides on what counts as the state's recommended vaccines, what gets guaranteed insurance coverage, and how the state procures and distributes the doses. That's what it is. Now, I love the way that this is written because it says opponents, mostly Republicans, say that this is unchecked authority. Democrats say it too. This is a bipartisan issue. There are a lot of Democrat, liberal, and independent families who were harmed by the COVID vaccine. Okay? And many of them are uneasy with the idea of one person who was pro this vaccine and quite reckless about it, I might add. Quite reckless. Being the authority. But like I said, these folks, when they start noticing this stuff, when they can't go to work or their kids can't go to school and they're fearful, They hear about a neighbor or a neighbor's kid who's really sick, and they go, I don't know. They're not going to not going to put their life at risk. Like, I don't know about you. I get afraid for my wife every day. I get afraid for the boy. I am so glad that they did not get boosters. But I was scared to death. I'll never forget, after he got the vaccine and then wanted to be on the football field, and then you start hearing the stories, and all you want to do, you want to try your best not to say to him, oh, dude, I don't know if it's a good idea for you to be out there, man. Thank God he quit. Thank God he quit. He got sacked once and it was over. I don't know if he's got myocarditis, but he ain't playing sports no more. But that's my point. That's my point. But I didn't know how to have that discussion with Roseanne. I didn't. When she told me she did, I was like, I did the worst thing. I will tell you, I did the worst thing. And I don't care if you want to be mad at me. It's my family. I can do whatever I want. When I got COVID, I knew it. I walked in the house, and her sister Petra, we used to make popcorn every night. They'd sit on the couch and watch movies. And her sister was staying with us. And Petra had a big bowl of popcorn sitting in front of her. I walked into the apartment, couldn't smell it. Sat down right next to her in the pot, couldn't smell it. And I said, that's interesting. Can't smell the popcorn. Holy crap, I can't smell anything. I've got COVID. And I didn't tell a soul. I didn't tell anybody. I got one sniffle, and I was hiding it. I was like, are you sick? No. I'm fine. Just dust. I was done with COVID in 24 hours. That was it. I was fine. I was back at work. The whole house got sick. That's it. I'm telling you, it was an ICU in my house. What happened? Why am I so sick? I have no idea. I haven't the foggiest. How come you're not sick? Oh, the immune system. Big strapping man. That COVID isn't going to get me. These people in the house were down for the count, every one of them. The boy, Petra, Roseanne, forget about it. They were crawling all over the floor. They were drinking orange juice in a fetal position. It was awful. I told them, don't touch me. Get away. Stay away. 6 feet, please. 6 feet. But they got through it. They're still here. They're still here. They needed me. Do you understand that? I was patient zero. They needed me. I was there to infect them so they would become immune. That's the reason why they needed me. Roseanne got COVID 4 more times after that. But she's fine now. She's fine. None the worse. None the worse. She's okay. She's okay. Did you get COVID at all, Roland? You had to have it once, right? You didn't get it? Not once? With all of that bowling you do? Touching the pins and the bowling balls, sliding on the floor? Nothing? How about did your wife or your daughter get it? Nobody got it in your home? Are you kidding me?
No, we're all clean people, man.
You're all clean? Okay, listen, we're going to need a vial of your blood.
Nah. We just didn't go. We didn't go a lot of places, and
you didn't.
We both work from home, so.
Did you go over in a hazmat suit? You look like. What was that movie? Outbreak? Like walking around with the hat.
We just rarely left. We worked from home, and when I did tournaments, once they opened it back up, they had like sheets separating the lanes.
Damn, really?
They washed down after everybody bowled. They washed down everything. So. Yeah, it was. Damn. That was the only way that they were allowed to be able to bowl. That's why.
How many tournaments did you play in during COVID?
I don't know, a lot.
A lot?
Yeah.
Wow. They continued the bowl. That's interesting.
They took precautions.
Yeah. Sure they did. I'm just saying. I took precautions. I wore a glove or two now and again while I was moving folks out of the state. No, I didn't really care. I didn't. I was absolutely disgusting. I did not care. I touched everybody's furniture. I licked things. It was bad. I'm kidding about that part. Anyway, I wasn't afraid of that virus. I wasn't afraid of that. I'm afraid of every other virus. Every other virus. But COVID did not scare me. What do you want? Let me see. Lori says 6 feet that Dr. Fraud admitted that he just threw that number out there. Yeah, the head of the FDA did an interview with CBS and said they originally wanted to do 10 feet, but they said that people wouldn't go for it, so they kind of did Brian's darting across Connecticut and just threw a dartboard at numbers. Said 6. Yeah, 6 works. Yeah, that's it. COVID knew enough to avoid the bowling lane. That would be the last place I would imagine people like outbreaks of COVID. Down at Manchester Lane, 75 people were stricken with COVID. They're all in the ICU. Nobody would have believed it. It was like, I'm safe. It's just a bowling alley. Roland's going to be mad at me. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember, panic is not planning. So plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. Roseanne is here tomorrow. You be here too at 2 o'clock. And you have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow. Mark Christopher is out. And Tom O'Hanlon, he's getting you home. He is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Night-night.